Yo, are you tired of all your relationships coming to an end? Are you tired of them expiring? And the reason why I say expiring is because relationships expire all the time. It's like expired tags on a car. Every year or every 2 years, it is time for you to go back through emissions because your tags has expired. Well, relationships expire the same way. Sometimes they can last 1 year, sometimes they can last 2 years, or maybe even more. Are you tired of your relationships expiring? And here's why. It's because you're making too many demands in your relationships. Usually a person who is demanding in a relationship has issues with all kind of relationships, whether they're romantic relationships, business partnerships, or just family ship in general. And it's because you're making demands instead of allowing a relationship to be a jointed experience. And when I say jointed experience, that means you and that person that are in a relationship, you guys jointly making decisions and deciding how our relationship should be together based on you making demands. Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of Fast Forward Mindset Podcast. Today, I will help you rewire the way you think so you can fast forward to a happy and healthy lifestyle. Thank y'all for joining. I remember when I was first getting into relationships, and I would meet these women, and I would pretty much have in my mind how I want the relationship to go, how I want it to sit, and how I want it to be, and what they needed to do for me to make me happy in a relationship. And once we are together for a couple of months, the honeymoon phase kind of just fizzles out. I started making demands. I demand for you to make dinner twice a week. I demand for you to make the bed every morning. I demand sex 3 times a week. And then my relationships would just come to an end. They would expire because I was making demands in a relationship. You only make demands in your relationship because of your insecurities. And this is not just gender based. Men and women both make demands in relationship. And that really means that men and women could equally be insecure. And maybe you got 5 insecurities and this person has one, and their one insecurity topples your 5 insecurities. But however, we only make demands in relationships because of our insecurities. We're so insecure something that's going to happen that we're going to make a demand to make it not happen. And we don't understand that our demands just pushes people far and away from us. And it might not just be you making demands. Maybe it's your significant other making demands as well. And we know that when two people are making demands, the things never work out the way we want it to. Fellas, you say you want your woman or your boo or whatever you want to call them to respect you. I say for that, it's all about pride. That was one of my big things that I struggled with in a relationship, but it was about pride. My woman listens to me. My wife does what I tell her to do. My wife respects me because it was all about my pride. And my pride was from my insecurities because I've been cheated on before. If I make a demand and say you can have no more, you can't have any guy friends. Guess what? Chances are, if you can't have guy friends, you maybe not going to cheat on me. Chances are, if I tell you I want you to have sex with me 4 times a week, chances are you're going to be so busy to where you can't have sex with no one else. And in my mind, I know you can't. And that's why I'm demanding sex so frequently. It was all pride driven because of my insecurities. And ladies, this message is for you. You say you want your man to listen to you. You say you want your husband to understand who you are. I hear it all the time. Women say, my man must understand me. He must love me. And I say for you, women, the majority of you, is that it's all about control. You feel like that if you can control him and he listens to you and does what you say do based on your controlling ways, that signifies love and security for you. If you tell him to do something and he does it, he loves you. If he obeys you, that's your security. He does what I say do when I say do it. And ladies, I've heard some women literally just brag about it. Oh, my man just listens to everything I tell him to do. If I say jump, he says how high. If I tell my man to go to the store and get me a Diet Coke, he's on his way to get a Diet Coke. Some of you ladies actually brag about having control of your man. And I don't think it's fair for anyone to make demands when it comes to control or respect, no matter what. No matter what. Men demand respect, women demand control. And this is why relationships tend to expire. I hear my friends talk about it all the time about how relationships is just so hard today. They get on these dating apps and they go out and they have a couple good dates. And after they have a couple good dates, all of a sudden this person is not compatible. This person had a red flag. This person said something that kind of just made me second guess the whole thing. It either have to deal with either respect or control. But people say their relationships just don't work these days. And I'll say it's because we make too many demands in a relationship. I had a guy I used to go play basketball with, like faithfully. And every time we play basketball, he talked about the same thing about a relationship, about a woman over and over and over again. His demands was for his woman, no social media, no guy friends, no girl time. Not at all. You couldn't do none of the above. And I simply said, hey, man, I feel like you're going to be single for the rest of your life. And he looks at me with this weird look like he wanted to say something. And in my mind, I'm like, you're going to be single for the rest of your life because you got too many demands. No woman is going to listen to that, no matter what. And he talks about they want him to be the sole provider. They want him to take care of this, take care of that, do this, do that. He's not willing to do that, so he's willing to just stay single. And I told him at one point, I think single life looks really good for you at this point. Because all your demands, I don't think anybody could ever meet that. They can't top that. And I realized at that point, he has a lot of demands. And demands will ruin any relationship after a certain point in time. And I would also say for demands, it's no different than you trying to change someone to be who you want them to be. Ladies, you can't make your man walk around with a shredded chest. You can't make him walk around with a six pack. You just simply can't make him be a yes man. You can't. You're going to drive him a different direction. One thing, ladies, that I struggle with is when I hear a woman say, I want my man to be a provider. And stay with me because I'm going somewhere with this. They say, I want my man to be a provider. I want him to make more money than me. I want him to be the breadwinner, but I also want him to be the best husband and the best dad ever. Okay. So this man starts working. He gets a good job. He's making good money. But unfortunately, the job causes him to work additional hours. He's working 40 plus hours a week. Right. And we all know that the more time he spends at work, the less family time he can give back to the family. But ladies, you ask him to do this, be the breadwinner, be the provider, but when he can't spend the ample amount of time with you because he's always working, now you're complaining saying, I want to find someone else because my husband doesn't give me the time I deserve. My husband does not give me the sex that I need from him because he's always busy working. My husband can't give the kids the time that they need because during their sports games or sporting events, he has to work. Mind you, you told this man he must get a job. He must be the breadwinner. He must do all these fantastic things in this relationship to make it work from a demand perspective. But when he does what you ask him to do, you turn around and complaining to him now, telling him he spends too much time working. I never understood that, ladies. It makes me scratch my head. Fellas, you can't demand your lady to have sex with you 3 times a week. You can't demand your lady to wear lingerie twice a month. You can't demand your lady to keep the house clean and to cook 6 solid meals a week. Now, you can ask her to do those things, but you can't demand her to do them. One thing I learned about all my past relationships is that the more demands I made, the worse the relationship got. It got bad because I was making demands. And yes, y'all, I did say worser. It's a word for this scenario. But I was making demands all the time. It just never went right because my insecurities, my pride, and my ego made me have to lay the law of the land of demands. And none of my relationships really worked at the time. They just end up expiring. The biggest thing about a relationship is that the majority of us don't really know what we want in a relationship. We think we know, but we don't know. We don't even know ourselves enough, really, to know what we want in a relationship. And if you've never witnessed a successful relationship, it's going to make it more difficult for you. Now, I'm not saying those who have witnessed a successful relationships is easier for them, because believe me, it's just as unequally as it is equally for someone that has seen it and someone that has not seen it. But we walk around and we act like that this is what a relationship should be like. It's a fantasy. It's a facade. We think we know what we want. We think we know how we want our significant other to be, but we really don't. One day it's this, the next day it's that. One day it's this, the next day it's that. Really, the reason why your relationships are expiring is because you're making demands in your relationships. I got to a point now in my relationships where I don't make any demands, period. If I have a get together, I invite people over. No longer strong on them and said, you got to be here as a friend for me. You've got to come to my housewarming party. You've got to come to my son's birthday party. You got to be here for my wife's special day. I no longer put those expectations or demands on people anymore. I send you an invite. If you show up, you show up. Thank you for coming. I no longer put any demands in my marriage anymore. I don't give my wife cooking quotas. I don't give her sex quotas. I don't give her romantic time quotas. Whatever happens in this relationship happens because I no longer make demands and she no longer makes demands towards me. One thing I learned about a relationship is usually what one person does, the other person does it. We start to keep score. And if you score a touchdown, I want to score one next week. If you kick a field goal, I want to kick one next week. That's keeping score. I was having a good relationship. I was having a conversation with a good friend a few weeks ago. And he explained this scenario in his relationships that he's struggling with. And I don't remember all the I's and the T's of the conversation. But however, he said something to me that made me turn around and say, hey, man, you're keeping score. And as long as you continue to keep score, all your relationships are going to expire. And this person's response was like, no, I'm not keeping score. I'm just saying how it is. And again, my response is, you're still keeping score. And how many relationships that you had expire? Exactly. But let me land the plane for y'all today and help y'all be able to stop making demands for you to have successful relationships. And let me just say that some relationships just expire and they expire for the better. Maybe in the moment we don't see it's better, but in the longevity of it, we see that it was better for it to expire. But if you want your relationships to work, I need you to follow these small things. Number one, stop making demands. Talk about your needs. Talk about your insecurity. Talk about your pride. Talk about your controlling ways. Talk about your possessive ways. When you start talking about things, you stop making demands because now instead of you having to demand it, the person knows what you struggle with. Right. And so when they see you coming with that angle, they can say, you're doing it again. Okay. And then you can catch yourself like, you're right, I am. So number one, stop making demands, talk about it. Focus on yourself. In relationship, this is what's so important because I feel like a lot of people, when they get in a relationship, they just forget about self-growth. They put all their time and interest in trying to make the relationship better. And instead of you trying to focus on yourself, their relationships just start to get worse and worse and worse because you're taking all your interest and putting it into the relationship bucket. And on the side of that, there's no self-growth bucket. You continue to stay the same. You're fighting for a relationship to get better, but you're not getting better individually. The better I got with self-growth, the more I started to really understand myself and who I am, the better my relationships got. And I'm like, hey, James, you're a moody person at 12 a.m. I don't know if you know it or not. You're a moody person. Hey, James, you like to make demands when you get stressed out. You make huge demands when it comes to sex when you have a crazy work week. Start to know myself because I started to put a lot of interest and time into self growth. So, number two, focus on yourself. Self growth is important. Number three, learn each other, know each other, understand each other, love each other. A couple who say they really love each other, they want to be together forever, you got to learn each other. You can't want a long-term relationship and you don't try to learn that person. You cannot. In order for your relationships to be successful and for them to be long-term, you got to really grow to know that person, understand that person. I had a friend who went through a very bad divorce years ago. The divorce left him broken, broke financially, and homeless. All of the above. Today, I talked to him and he says, hey, man, it's probably the best thing that that relationship expired. I was emotionally drained. And he says, me and that person are better friends and we have a better relationship than when we were together. And I said, why do you think that is? Because we actually stopped yelling at each other and started understanding each other. We stopped making demands of what we wanted and we started talking about the things that we need. And at that moment, I looked at him and I said, that's a lesson to learn. Learn each other, know each other, love each other, respect each other. This is a big one. Respect is huge. I mean, some of us just out there disrespecting the person we with. Totally. Cheating. Sidebar conversations, however you want to call it. Sexting. I mean, some of us just has no respect for the partner that we're with or our friendships. And I would have to say that if you're stabbing somebody in the back and you have no respect for them, how much value do you really put in that relationship? Do you really care about it? Do you really love it? Because if you don't, that makes me question how much you care about it. Because it doesn't seem like you care about it a lot, especially when there's no respect at all. So, what do we want to do in relationships? Number one, we want to start making demands. We want to talk about it, understand each other, love each other, and respect each other. Now, there's no guarantee that a relationship would work, but I will tell you this. Based on this formula and this equation, if you put this into action, the majority of relationships will be successful. Y'all, this is what a healthy relationship looks and feels like. Hey, y'all, thank y'all for listening. I really appreciate it. If you have not hit that follow button, make sure you hit the follow button on the podcast, because once you do, you'll never miss a moment to rewire the way you think. Don't forget to check out my website. It's www.rewirethewayouthink.com. Y'all, I'm not hard to find. I'm on IG all day, every day. It's James Watkins. I said this. That was my old IG. My new IG is Fast Forward Mindset Podcast. If you're struggling today with thoughts of suicide, thoughts of hurting yourself or someone else, please don't hesitate to call the Suicide Prevention Hotline at 988. Hey, y'all, I'm Coach James, and I hope this message helps you rewire the way you think. And as I always say, if your monster isn't making you money, it's costing you way too much. And that's my 2 cents in there, y'all. Peace. Thank y'all for listening to today's episode. And remember, don't rewind your life, fast forward it. Until next time, keep moving forward. Hey, y'all, I'm Coach James. Let me help rewire the way you think. All right, y'all. Peace.